Hello children, hope you all are fine. Children, today we are going to start book 3. So here you will get 2 chapters. The Red Bud Tree and Shobhini and Nani go to the Mela. Today we will start our first chapter, The Red Bud Tree. Children, do you remember the meaning of bud? Yes, bud means फूल की कली. So, the red bud tree means red color की कली वाले पेड़. Children, this is a beautiful story about 4 young princes of Benares and the beautiful red bud tree. So, before starting the story, let's do one activity. To do this activity, we have to know the name of the seasons. Children, do you know how many seasons are there? There are 5 seasons. Spring season, summer season, monsoon season, winter season and autumn season. Okay? So, in spring season, the trees get covered with green leaves and the fields are also covered with different types of flowers. Summer is the hottest season of the year. Monsoon is also known as the rainy season. Winter season is the coldest season and snowfall occurs in this season. Autumn season is also known as fall season because in this season leaves of the trees start falling. Clear, children? Now let's do this activity. The question is, draw one thing that reminds you of each of these seasons. That means name of 4 seasons are given here and you have to draw a picture of one thing in each box that reminds you about each of these seasons. Okay? That means इन चारों boxes में ऐसे चीजें ड्रॉ करना है जिन्हें देखते ही आपको इन seasons के बारे में याद आते हैं. In the first box, you have to draw the picture that reminds you about spring season. As you all know, in spring season, different flowers bloom. No? So here you can draw a flower. Then in the second box, you have to draw the picture related to summer season. So we have already discussed that summer is the hottest season, isn't it? In this season, we all have ice creams, isn't it, children? Here, you can draw ice cream. Now, in the third box, you have to draw the picture that reminds you about monsoon season. As you all know, monsoon season is also known as rainy season. So, in rainy season, we use umbrella or raincoat. So here you can draw an umbrella. And in the last box, you have to draw the picture that reminds you about winter season. As you all know that winter is the coldest season of the year. So here you can draw a cap. Okay, children? So this is the activity you have to do at your home. Now let's start the story. First I will read the story, then I will explain it. Okay? So let's start. The Red Bud Tree. Once upon a time in the city of Benares, there were 4 young princes. They had heard many stories about the beautiful red bud tree. It grew deep in the forest. Each of them wished to see it. One day, the eldest prince went into the woods to look for the redbud tree. It was still early spring. The tree had no leaves or buds. The prince thought it was an ugly tree. He went back to the palace. A few weeks later, the second prince went to see the tree. It was late spring. He saw a lovely tree covered with bright red buds. A few months later, the third prince went into the woods. By now, the tree did not have any red buds. It was covered with lush green leaves. The prince wondered why it was called the redbud tree. Finally, the youngest prince went to see the redbud tree. He saw that the tree was covered with little bean pods. The youngest prince rushed back to the palace. He wanted to tell his brothers that he had seen the tree. But none of them would listen to him. All of them started fighting about how the tree looked. The king heard them fighting. He went to them and said, "My dear sons, all four of you saw the same tree. It just looked different because each of you saw it at a different time the year." The princes understood their mistake. They thanked their father. Now listen carefully. Once upon a time, in the city of Benares, there were 4 young princes. That means, once upon a time, in the city of Benares, lived 4 young princes. Here, princess means Rajkumar. Underline this word. They had heard many stories about the beautiful redbud tree. It grew deep in the forest. Each of them wished to see it. They had heard many stories about the beautiful redbud tree, which grew deep in the forest. Deep in the forest means बहुत घने जंगल में वो पेड़ था. Okay? And all of them wished to see the tree. One day, the eldest prince went into the woods to look for the redbud tree. That means, one day, the eldest prince means सबसे बड़ा prince. Underline this word. Went in the forest to see the tree. Woods means forest. It was still early spring. The tree had no leaves or buds. The prince thought it was an ugly tree. He went back to the palace. But as it was the early spring season, that means spring season का शुरुआत था वो. So there were no leaves or buds in the tree. So the eldest prince thought that it was an ugly tree. Ugly means देखने में बुरा. So underline this word. Then he went back to the palace. A few weeks later, the second prince went to see the tree. It was late spring. He saw a lovely tree covered with bright red birds. A few weeks later, the second prince went to see the tree. It was late spring. Here, late spring means spring season खत्म होने वाला था. And he saw that the tree was covered with beautiful red birds. A few months later, the third prince went into the woods. By now, the tree did not have any red buds. It was covered with lush green leaves. A few months later, the third prince went in the forest and saw that the tree did not have any red buds and was covered with only lush green leaves. इसका मतलब क्या होता है बच्चों? Lush means bright and thick. So underline this word. The prince wondered why it was called the red bud tree. Here, wondered means thought. So here the prince thought that why this tree was called the red bud tree. And finally, the youngest prince went to see the red bud tree. He saw that the tree was covered with little bean pods. And finally, the youngest prince means सबसे छोटा prince, went and had seen that the tree was covered with little bean pods. Bean pods means matar. Okay, children? The youngest prince rushed back to the palace. He wanted to tell his brothers that he had seen the tree. Then the youngest prince returned quickly to the palace to tell his brothers that he had seen the tree. But none of them would listen to him. All of them started fighting about how the tree looked. But none of them believed him. And they started fighting with each other about how the tree looked. The king heard them fighting. He went to them and said, "My dear sons, all 4 of you saw the same tree. It just looked different because each of you saw it at a different time the year." That means then the king, who is their father, heard them and he went there to tell them that the same tree looked different to each of them because they saw it at different times of the year. That means चारों प्रिंस ने एक ही ट्री को साल के अलग अलग टाइम में देखा था, जिसके लिए उन्हें एक ही ट्री अलग अलग दिखाई दिया था. The princes understood their mistake. They thanked their father. That means at last the princes understood their mistake and they finally thanked their father. So this is the story. So read this at home. Next day we will start the book exercise. Thank you.